You know, it amazes me how a group of human beings cling to guns, defend the use of guns when it suits them. But when they are victims of nonviolence, all of a sudden they want to talk about hearts and minds. Today, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And while I don't condone his assassination, I don't have any sympathies for this man. This man is 31 years old, or was 31 years old. This man has been on social media for a number of years spouting hate. Now, if this was 1950s America, 60s America, I sort of get it. But this dude was born in the 90s. He was born in 1993. I want you to think about that. This dude helped form a what they call a think tank that spouts conspiracy theories and hatred towards various people that don't look like him or share his political beliefs. Now, you guys know that I've said before, you can have your political beliefs. You can be a Democrat or Republican. I am neither. But when you go out there and spread hatred and lies to people, especially to those who've never been exposed to different groups of people, you are dangerous. This dude was a college dropout, but he went around the college campuses arguing or trying to get into arguments with people who didn't agree with him. But these schools welcomed him. A large mass of people welcomed him. He went to Utah, probably one of the whitest states in the union. And a lot of those people was Charlie Kirk fans. You have these white teenagers and young adults. Well, you know what? They're not teens anymore. When you hit 18, you're not a kid. Okay, you're not a teenager. You're an adult. From 18 to let's say 25, because a lot of people stay in college for years. A lot of people are older too. They go to college. But let's just say from 18 to 24, 25, right? They go out there. They like listening to him. They out there cheering for him. You go online, everybody is condolences, and I'm gonna tell you, the news networks have tipped their hand. Remember, I told y'all there's no such thing as a liberal media. MSNBC been talking about it all evening, and the reporters look so. Oh my gosh! Now people say they gotta cover news, they gotta present that they are failing balance, but when black murdered in this country, or black people of a tragedy, it's this taxed tone. Remember, I told y'all this is tone. But then you get Hispanics and some of these handkerchief head Negroes, and some of these Negroes got podcasts and YouTube channels and on Instagram. We need to pray. Black folks have prayed for everybody else, while everybody take a dance, a jig at our pain. Charlie Kirk sat back and badmouthed my cousin, who was murdered for all the country or everybody around the world to see. When that cop shot my cousin in her face, he was defending that cop. Him and Officer Tatum and Ben Shapiro and all these other people. Remember, they was advocating for Donald Trump to pardon Derek Chauvin early this year. Remember that? Remember when he said something about DEI? They tried to blame those people that died in that flood, not for people getting caught up in politics or the hatred was so hurt them. He blamed DEI. When that army helicopter crashed in that plane, him, Donald Trump, and so many others, DEI. Remember he talked about woke? Remember he said the Civil Rights Act of 1964 shouldn't have been signed? Days after Dr. King, days after we celebrated, or those who really celebrate the birth of Dr. King, a national holiday, Dr. King's son, Dexter King, died of cancer. You didn't think he didn't care. He went in and started talking about Dr. King and his family. Dr. King didn't do anything. He wasn't a great man. We shouldn't be honoring him. Never mind that Dr. King's last surviving children, his granddaughter, his daughter-in-law that he never got to meet, or his granddaughter, they grieving Dexter King. They didn't care. When black people are victims of crimes, well, the black community is so violent, blah, blah, blah. But now this bastard said something last week about, well, we got people going to die. I'm paraphrasing. He was saying it's acceptable to have gun deaths. And the moment he was talking to a crowd and using gang, when he said gang, that's a euphemism for black. Pop. Now, when I saw the video, now when I heard it was breaking news, I'm gonna tell you, I was watching General Hospital, and when they broke in 5-4, I'm like, wait a minute, did something happen to you know who? And they said Charlie Kirk, conservative activist, was shot, and after 15 minutes or so, no, after I think 10, maybe 15 minutes, it broke way back to General Hospital. Then when it went to commercial, came back in. We have an update. No updates yet. When they didn't have no updates, whether this man was in critical condition, I knew he was dead. But little did I know, that I should have known on the internet that somebody put the video up on the internet. I knew it wasn't gonna be on Facebook. If it was, it got snatched down. But if you go to TikTok, that shit's on TikTok. And when I saw it, I said, ain't no way a handgun did that. Now I was in the military. I know with a weapon. I know that sound. And when you saw him get hit in the neck and blood gushed out everywhere, he was dead the moment he got hit. Now the irony was he was out making jokes about George Floyd, talking about George Floyd he brought it on himself. Every time he turned around, he's talking shit about black folk, about violence, and saying that we're more violent and we shouldn't be anywhere. They should get rid of civil rights, all this stuff. It wasn't a black person that shot him, it was a white person that shot him. And then and I'm not mistaken, they carry guns, you're allowed to carry weapons on that campus. So you reap where you sow. But I'm not crying for this bastard. This man is so anti-black. And they got video, they said somebody up there on a roof. And you see it. You see him. There's a video where you see somebody on that roof. And they took off. Let me see. Charlie Kirk, the EMT. And some black folks on Instagram laughed. They said, the Charlie Kirk, Kirk EMT help. Man, they put that boy Kirk on the shirt, dog. Kirk on the shirt. And the crazy thing about it is they saying it's a boomer. It's gotta be one of these Vietnam vets, bro, because ain't no way. That shot placement was fucking immaculate. Now, based on all the angles I seen, it looked like a long distance shot. I don't know if somebody just walked up to him and Abraham Lincoln his ass, or somebody was on a Chris Kyle type shit and just was like geriatric breathing fifth form, and he died. He died, Jack. Charlie Kirk died. He passed away. That's sad. That's sad. I have an opinion. Look at this cool Rampage Jackson. Have an opinion? Hey, black people, before you start, yes, Charlie Kirk got pew pew. This is not our fight. They literally kill us for less. Do not get on here talking about, and no, just because you don't agree with somebody politically means that. Stop. Stop. Stop it. Because I've already started saying, stop. Let the white folks deal with that shit. It was a white on white crime. This is not our time to be black saviors to these motherfucking devils. Fuck. Amen, sister. Amen. Sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Hey, I see that here. The vocabulary word is stoke. It's a verb, and it means to encourage or incite a strong emotion. And that's what Charlie Kirk attempted to do when he wanted to stoke fear into some airline passengers over the qualifications of a black airline pilot. But did he question the qualifications
of the pilots of the last two American plane crashes. I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. Stoke. To encourage or incite fear. You can just skip the video if you don't want to see it. But if you want to see it, we'll show it to you. The reason that I want to show it to you is because I want you to see the totality of what happened. I want you to see what happened to the young lady, how quick it happened, and, you know, the subsequent actions after it happened. Meaning that nobody even looked in her direction to help her. And there's reasons why. Let's keep it.
Now, this Officer Tatum talking about that white woman that got stabbed on that train. I'm gonna do a commentary about that. But Donald Trump and them already trying to stoke a white anger and stuff. And let me say this again. These people. Let me go back. Let me see if I can find the video.
I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's cool. You could just skip the video.
Sorry about that. Charlie Kirk footage.
Unseen footage before Charlie Kirk gets SHOT.
Oh no, that's not the one. They playing the music. They treat him like he's a damn political figure. He said some gang violence. Let me rewind that again. You sit there and you spread all that hatred, talking all that shit about black folk, and there was another white person that did it. But all these white people like Jimmy Kimmel, Roseanne, Arnold Schwarzenegger, their kids. Oh man, we don't condone violence, but this dude advocated violence against my people, us as black folk. Now, those of you who are white and Asian and Hispanic that online saying, well, we should never resort to violence. Let me remind y'all, he's advocating violence to happen to y'all. Oh, see, once y'all want to vilify black folk, it's cool. Now, you heard the sister saying to black folk, this ain't our fight. Don't be going out here praising, because I've seen some Negroes that's on social media. Oh, man, we shouldn't talk about it. There are people that I know who didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was until say, oh, that guy, oh, he got killed. And some people's like, well, he did it to himself. Like I said, I don't advocate violence, but at the same time, this dude advocated violence towards us. I want y'all to understand that. This is what happened, the aftermath. You see on here where that little tin at, he was sitting around there. If you guys go on TikTok and type in Charlie Kirk, I'm gonna let you know. It's graphic. But when I saw, I said, oh, he was dead the moment a bullet hit him. They shot him in the neck. That was somebody with some military or law enforcement training or a hunter. They wanted to make sure he didn't come back. You can't push that hatred out there and don't think it's not gonna come back and bite you on the ass. Like I said, I don't condone violence, but at the same time, I ain't feeling sorry for him. Cause this motherfucker talk mad shit about black folk. Said we the most violent. He said that you had Jink Uger. Yo, Charlie was a good guy. Gavin Newsom talking about, but he had, matter of fact, didn't he have Charlie Kirk on his show? That first show he did, my boys like you, Charlie. All these motherfuckers in the media, these networks, these celebrities, they're showing you who they are. Barack Big Ear Obama, he had to be forced to come out and say something about Trayvon Martin. He quickly came out, me and Michelle, real condolence. I understand Vice President Harris had to come out and Joe Biden, but I guess we're gonna ignore all this hateful shit he said about black folk. All this misinformation he's pushing out here to these young, impressionable, goofy ass white kids and these old ass white folks by using religion to try to hide his racism. And people are mad at me. And they're like, well, were you celebrating this murder? No, I'm not celebrating. But I said, you can't put that kind of hate out there. And you got people blaming Democrats. If I didn't have a reason to hate gun grabbing Democrats for now, they said, one guy said, F all. Everybody assumes Democrats. But let's be honest. It's so. And this one of the people I know said, So one could assume that we have this violent white culture to blame for Kirk's death.
That my ukulele is firmly in its resting place speaks volumes. Because I'm not gonna do like a little song and dance because somebody died, but I'm also not gonna pretend like they weren't a fucking terrible person. And I just think the holier than thou, like, you're no better than him, I am better than him. Because I'm not a fucking bigot. Like, when Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked and almost murdered, Charlie Kirk was like, let's raise money for the guy. Let's get him out. Why hasn't he been bailed out? He was like, oh, Palestinians don't exist. Gaza should be flattened. Israel is not starving Gaza. He was a terrible person. He was a terrible person. Do I feel bad for his kids? Yeah, I do. I wish he felt bad for kids that were victims of gun violence. I wish he felt bad for the parents of children who were killed by gun violence. According to him, it was inevitable. He actively fought the policies that potentially would have kept his ass alive. And he went on and on and on about how there would be a good guy with a gun and how we need more guns to protect ourselves. A gun didn't protect him. He also said empathy was bad, that it was evil. So now I'm supposed to have empathy for somebody who said empathy was bad? I'm not happy about it. I'm not going to celebrate. I'm indifferent. People die every single day. Well, when you die, when I die, I will be dead. I mean, it'll be sad. I won't fucking be here. I won't hear what y'all have to say about me. like what? What? This is a man who said that MLK was evil and didn't deserve a holiday. So he was allowed to speak ill of the dead, but we're not allowed to speak ill of him. And it's not even ill. I just quoted the motherfucker a bunch. Like, please.
No person is coming. They said, this one person said, my sympathies are going to the family of Minnesota Congresswoman Melissa Horman family. She was assassinated a few months ago, and there was no national order to lower flags to half staff. Remember that? Remember that woman, her husband, and her service dog was murdered? You didn't hear no Trump and them come out. He didn't even go to the funeral. Let me remind y'all, my cousin was murdered. The whole world got to see the video on YouTube. He went out there and rationalized it. Nobody said, yo, man, you know, and then people mad at MSNBC. But let me say this. Let me say this again. Let me say this again, everybody. Let me see. Let me see. Somebody said Elizabeth Warren on people who say Democrats need to tone down their rhetoric. Oh, please, why don't you start with the President of the United States and every ugly meme he's posted of every ugly word? Let's see what else. Magically doubling the good of boxing. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. What else comments at? Because let me see. My cousin said, I missed that mofo talking about my sweet niece. May he rest in peace. My cousin, brother, Sonia's dad, I haven't seen him since January. We had a funeral for my great aunt. And I saw him on TV, I think it was last month, standing next to his grandson when they was naming a law after Sonia. And you can see the pain in him. His daughter was murdered, and everybody got on the internet talking shit, right along with Charlie Kirk. So why should I, with anybody, but especially my family, why should we have any sympathy for this dude? Let me say this again, folks. I don't condone violence, but when people go out there and preach it, then when they come back and bite them on their ass, we supposed to have hearts and minds. Not once have I advocated any violence on any of the platforms I've been on. YouTube took my channel down. I didn't say shit, but this motherfucker got channels on YouTube. They got people, all these motherfuckers is out. Let me see if I can pull up the names of celebrities talking about Charlie Kirk. Let me see. Celebrities, they're talking about Charlie Kirk assassination. Let's see. Hollywood notables react. Let me see. Let me see. Who? Let's see. Kirk Cameron, not surprised. His sister Candace, not surprised. James Woods, not surprised. Let me see. Jimmy Kimmel. This was they said. Jimmy Kimmel showed instead of the angry finger pointing, we can just for one day agree that it's horrible and monstrous to shoot another human. On behalf of my family, we send love to Kirks. But Kirks didn't care about Dr. King family. He didn't care about the crap on Schwarzenegger. I get why Vice President Harris did, but wasn't Charlie Kirk talking shit about Vice President Harris and Biden? Now people said, be the bigger persons. Let me see, what else? Donald Trump. Charlie was a good man. Chris Pratt praying for Charlie now, his wife and young children for our country. We need God's grace. God help us. Wait a minute. This is the hypocrisy. This is the hypocrisy. J.D. Vance, eternal rest, oh Lord. Barack Obama got a lot of nerve. I'm really disappointed. I'm not shocked. He just said, we don't know what motivated the person who shot and killed Charlie Kirk. Well, this kind of despicable violence has no place in our democracy. Michelle and I, praying for Charlie's family tonight, especially his wife Erica and their two young children. But you had to pull you kicking and screaming and say something about Trayvon Martin. You sat back there and you big head motherfucker, the Ben Shapiro, like how I'm stunned and heartbroken and sick to my soul today. It's imaginable to write these words. I met Charlie when he was 18 years old, a young man so eager to determine, and I immediately turned to a friend and said, that kid's gonna be the whatever. Let me see what else. Who else? Galvin Newsom. I told you about that bastard. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Mike Pence, Rob Schneider. As we pray for our dear friend and patriot in Christ, American patriot, father, husband, son, Charlie Kirk. Kid Rock. God bless Charlie Kirk, a true patriot. Bernie Sanders. Political violence has no place in this country. We must condemn this horrifying attack. My thoughts with Charlie Kirk and family. Ted Cruz. Heidi and I are devastated, heartbroken. Charlie Kirk's murder was an act of unspeakable evil. Charlie was a close friend. We first met when he was just 18, and Turning Point was a nascent idea. Charlie has the courage, brilliant compassion, and power and honesty. But he was out there being anti-black. So these motherfuckers have told you, Meghan McCain, let me see who else. These motherfuckers are telling you that they was cool with this motherfucker racism. Let me see. Reading who else? Who else? Barstool Dave Puntroy. Let me see. We just gonna ignore this motherfucker didn't say all the racist shit he said about black folks. But when black folks get shot, y'all didn't come out and check Harley Kirk for talking shit about Dr. King just a couple of days after his son died. You didn't? Yeah, okay. Yeah. All these motherfuckers heard this motherfucker spew all this hatred. But see, they get on cold. They get on cold. We don't. They get on cold. They don't care how hate. Long as you ain't hurting their family, don't you say that. You're wrong. When they talk about us, everybody crickets. And like I said, do I feel sorry for his children? Yeah, they daddy gone. They daddy gone. They babies. They innocent. But this dude went out here and said all kinds of hateful shit about black folk. And we supposed to sit back there like, oh, poor Charlie. Now, like I said, I didn't wake up cheering, but I did not tell y'all karma will come back and get these people. Let me remind y'all, where everybody talking about black violence and talking about Chicago and Baltimore and Detroit, who's committed these assassinations? Who killed Abraham Lincoln? A white dude. Who tried to kill President Roosevelt but got Mayor Cermak of Chicago? A white dude. Who tried to assassinate George Wallace, the one that said segregation today and segregation tomorrow? He didn't want black kids going to a university, a high school. What was that? Governor George Wallace. And then, ironically, who was taking care of his ass in his last days? Black people. Who tried to assassinate Ronald Reagan? But he had y'all thinking welfare kings, and he didn't want the Black Panthers and these governors to have guns. But it was a white dude that tried to kill him. Gerald Ford, who tried to assassinate a white woman by his name is Squeaky Fromm. But black folks are the ones y'all supposed to be angry and worried about. Ooh, the big bad black folk. We try to tell y'all we need to get gun control. Guns don't kill. Yeah, you get some crazy motherfucker that don't agree with you and they want to take you out and they shoot you dead. Nobody's advocating political violence. I'm not advocating any violence. But this dude was making jokes at the expense of dead black folk. These motherfuckers sit on social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you name it, X, whatever. Then y'all tried to racialize that woman's murder that got killed in that train. And people hunt down five who the black folks, why they didn't help her. It was a race thing. No, it wasn't. Y'all remember people celebrating Daniel Penny that killed Jordan Neely. Remember that? Remember how Charlie Kirk kept talking about George Floyd and all that? Where was the heart to the prayers for Ricky? No, what's her name? The sister, damn, the one that got shot. She was asleep, and the police officers came in and shot her apartment up. What was the prayers for that sister? I think I'm going blank on her name. When Ahmaud Arbery was murdered, what was that anger for them guys lynching him? Where was the outrage? Didn't they tell us we need to get over Emmett Till when Carolyn Brown? See, so now y'all want hearts and minds. Go ahead, keep talking, folks. And the Democrats out there, we gotta condemn violence. Y'all don't never say this when black folks are getting our asses handed to us. Y'all, they've been silent. All this racism been directed towards black folks. Y'all been silent. I'm telling y'all, Democrats, y'all think we gonna come save the country come next midterms. We gonna see. But the Republicans and those extremists, they doing what they always do. The selective outrage. But don't ask me to be sympathetic to this monster. This own words came and bit him on the ass. Talking about gun violence and trying to say gangs. Well, what about the gangs? And pop! Mm-mm-mm.